Welcome back to the deep dive. We have a heavy one today.
Yeah, this one's different.
Usually we take a look at a bunch of articles, try to synthesize a trend in a way that's, digestible.
Right, the polite cocktail party version.
The polite version, exactly. But today we're throwing that version out the window.
Yeah, it's just not going to cut it for this topic.
We're focusing on a single dispatch. It's titled "Something Big is Happening," and it's by Matt Schumer.
The AI founder and investor.
Right, someone who's deep in the Silicon Valley ecosystem. And frankly, this piece, it doesn't read like a tech update. It reads like a warning shot.
It really does. It feels like someone grabbing you by the shoulders and saying, you need to look at what is actually happening right now.
So, to set the stage for everyone listening, today is Thursday, February 12, 2026. And according to Schumer and the data we're going to look at, the world fundamentally changed last week.
On February 5th.
And yet, if I look out my window or scroll through my feed, nobody seems to have noticed yet.
That is the core tension here. On the surface, everything looks normal. Coffee shops are full, traffic is bad.
People are arguing about sports.
Right. But underneath all that, the tectonic plates of the global economy just shifted. And the gap between what the public perceives and what insiders know has, I think, never been wider.
So the mission today is to look at the honest version of what's happening, not the press release version. And Schumer starts with this analogy that, well, it lands pretty hard. He asks us to think back to February 2020.
The quiet before the storm.
I think we all remember that feeling. The stock market was hitting all-time highs. We were going to work, shaking hands.
Planning summer vacations.
Yeah. I distinctly remember seeing a guy buying like 10 packs of toilet paper and thinking, wow, the internet has really rotted that guy's brain.
Exactly. We were all looking at the data, the virus spreading exponentially in other countries, but our daily reality just hadn't caught up.
We're bad at that, aren't we?
Humans are terrible at understanding exponential curves. We think in straight lines, we see a little bit of change, and we just assume it's going to stay that way. We don't see the vertical line until we've already hit it.
And Schumer's argument is that right now, February 2026, we are in the this seems overblown phase of something potentially even bigger.
That's his take, yeah. He says we're standing on the beach, watching the water recede and commenting on the nice seashells, totally missing the tsunami building on the horizon.
And he's pinning all this urgency directly on what happened on one specific day, February 5th. Okay, let's get into the weeds. What actually happened? Because I saw the headlines, and they just look like standard tech updates. OpenAI releases new model. Anthropic updates Claude.
Right. It didn't look like an alien landing.
No.
And on the surface, it wasn't. OpenAI released GPT 5.3 Codex, and Anthropic released Opus 4.6. If you aren't in this world, those just look like version numbers.
Like updating your phone from iOS 18 to 18.1.
Exactly. You expect the camera to be a little better, maybe the battery lasts a bit longer. Incremental improvement.
But this wasn't that.
For the people living in this space, this was a phase shift. It wasn't about the models knowing more trivia or passing a test a bit faster. It was about a fundamental change in how they operate.
This is the shift from tool to agent.
That's it.
We hear that word agent thrown around so much in marketing. Agentic AI. It just sounds like buzzword bingo. Can we define that? What does it actually mean here?
Sure. Think of a power drill. A power drill is a tool.
Okay.
It's powerful, it speeds you up, but you have to hold it. You have to point it. You have to press the trigger. If you walk away to get a coffee, the drill does nothing.
It just sits on the table.
It sits there.
Okay.
That has been AI, more or less, up until last week. You are the operator.
Right. I'm the human in the loop.
An agent, on the other hand, is like a contractor. You tell the contractor, I want a new deck, here are the blueprints, here's the budget, and then you leave.
You go to work.
You go to work, you come back, the deck is built, the contractor made decisions, solved problems, figured out which lumber to buy, and just did the work without you holding their hand.
And Schumer is saying GPT 5.3 and Opus 4.6 are the contractors.
Yes. And he gives this very specific, concrete example from his own work that really illustrates it. He runs an AI startup in the old days, which is hilarious because he means late 2025.
Like the old days.
He would code with the AI. The power drill method.
So back and forth.
Yeah. He'd say, write a function for a login screen. The AI writes it. He checks it. He says, no, that's insecure. You need to fix this. It fixes it. He's the expert supervising the junior.
Okay, so what's it like with the release from last week?
With GPT 5.3 Codex, the whole workflow is different. Schumer describes the app he wants in plain English. The user flow, the design aesthetic, the database structure. And then he walks away from his computer for 4 hours.
He just leaves. He's not watching it.
He leaves. And this is the part you really have to visualize to get why this is such a leap. While he's gone, the AI isn't just spitting out text, it's writing tens of thousands of lines of code. But then, and this is the breakthrough, it opens the app it just built.
Wait, the AI is running the software?
It runs it. It acts as a user. It clicks the buttons. It tests the login feature. It tries to break it.
No way.
And if a button feels clunky or a transition is too slow or the color palette just doesn't feel right, the AI goes back into the code, rewrites it, redeploys it, and tests it again.
So it's not just generating, it's self-correcting. It's evaluating its own work.
It's iterating hundreds of times, and it only alerts Schumer when the app is done, and it passes its own internal quality control.
That brings up this weird point he makes that I kind of struggled with. He says the AI has taste. That felt like a stretch. A machine can follow rules, but taste, that feels so human.
It sounds philosophical, but it's actually becoming a technical reality. Skeptics always said AI can do the math, but it'll never get the vibe. It won't know what feels good to a person.
Right.
Schumer's point is that that moat is gone. GPT 5.3 is making design choices, spacing, color theory, animation timing, that aren't just functional, they're aesthetically correct.
But how? How does a model learn good design?
It's pattern matching, but on a scale that's hard to comprehend. It's ingested every high-quality code repository, every award-winning app design, every human interface guideline ever written. It knows statistically what good looks like.
So it's not feeling the art.
No, but because it can run that feedback loop, test, look, fix, test again, it converges on a high-quality result. The output is becoming indistinguishable from someone who does have that feeling.
Okay, so we have agents that can code, design, and fix their own mistakes. This seems to lead directly to the next big concept, the intelligence explosion. Because if AI is this good at coding, why does that matter more than it being good at, say, writing poetry?
Because coding is the one skill that compounds on itself. If you teach an AI to write better haikus, you just get better haikus. It doesn't change the underlying architecture of the AI. But if you teach an AI to write better code, what can it build?
Better AI.
Exactly. It can debug its own training algorithms. It can optimize its own memory management. It can make the next version of itself more efficient, more powerful.
Schumer points to a line in the technical documentation for GPT 5.3. It's a bit chilling.
I know the one you mean.
I have it here. It says, GPT 5.3 Codex is our first model that was instrumental in creating itself.
Instrumental in creating itself. That's the snake eating its own tail, but it gets bigger with every bite. The current AI builds better code, which creates a smarter AI, which then writes even better code, which creates an even smarter AI.
The feedback loop?
And Dario Amodei, the CEO of Anthropic, he calls this the gathering steam phase. And you have to remember, the big labs, OpenAI, Google, Anthropic, they focused on coding first for this exact reason.
It was a strategy.
A deliberate strategy. They weren't trying to put software engineers out of a job, not primarily. They were trying to build the engine that builds the next engine.
And this isn't theoretical. This isn't one day. This is the release from last week.
Yeah. 4 months from the point where the AI just autonomously builds the next generation without us needing to intervene at all.
That feels like the definition of a vertical line on a graph.
Yeah.
But it's feels like isn't data. Schumer brings in an organization called METR.
Right, METR.
Who are they?
They're a nonprofit research org. Their whole job is to benchmark AI capability, but specifically for safety. They don't care about hype. They care about danger metrics, and they measure capability in a very specific way.
In time.
In time, yeah. Specifically, how long can a model perform a real-world task measured in human expert hours without needing a human to step in and help it?
Okay, so if a job would take a human expert, say, an hour, can the AI do that entire thing alone?
Exactly. And the timeline here is where that exponential curve just becomes undeniable. In early 2025, that number was about 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
Yeah. The AI could handle a simple script, a basic email chain. Anything longer, it would get confused or start to hallucinate.
That's manageable. That's a helper, an intern.
Right. By mid-2025, it was up to an hour. Then, in November 2025, with Claude Opus 4.5, it jumped to nearly 5 hours.
So, in less than a year, we went from 10 minutes of autonomous work to 5 hours.
Correct. The capability is doubling every 4 to 7 months. And remember, that data is from before the February 5th releases.
Whoa, right.
Schumer estimates these new models, the ones we're talking about today, push that number into days.
Days.
Imagine giving an employee a project, analyze this entire legal discovery file, cross-reference it with these 500 cases, and write me a summary, and then saying, see you on Monday.
And it just does it.
It just does it. No questions, no coffee breaks, no sleep. And it costs pennies on the dollar compared to a human salary.
This is where the rubber meets the road. Because if you're listening to this and you have a white-collar job, you're starting to sweat.
You should be.
We're not talking about robots flipping burgers. We are talking about high-level cognitive work.
We are. And Schumer brings up a prediction from Dario Amodei again, the 50% prediction.
Which is?
Amodei predicts AI will eliminate 50% of entry-level white-collar jobs within 1 to 5 years.
50%. That's catastrophic for the workforce. We've had technological shifts, but that sounds like a depression-level event.
It is a complete restructuring of the economy. And keep in mind, Amodei is seen as the cautious one. He's the safety-first CEO. A lot of insiders think he's being conservative with that number.
But people have always adapted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or learned to code, or the internet will kill retail.
The difference here is the nature of what's being replaced. When the internet disrupted retail, people moved into logistics or digital marketing. They moved to other cognitive tasks. But this time, AI is coming for the cognition itself.
For the thinking.
For the reading, the writing, the analyzing, the deciding. Schumer lists them off. Law, finance, coding, medical analysis, content creation.
He tells that story about the managing partner at a big law firm.
Yeah, a guy at the absolute top of the food chain. He's not using AI as a toy. He spends hours a day with it because it acts like a team of 20 associates. It outperforms his junior staff.
So if you're a junior lawyer, how do you learn? How do you get experience if the machine does all the grunt work better than you can?
That is the billion-dollar question. The entire apprenticeship model of work is breaking. If the AI is better and cheaper than the junior, why hire the junior? And if you don't hire the junior, how do they ever become the senior?
What about the human touch argument? I hear this constantly. Oh, an AI can draft a contract, but it can't show empathy to a client. It doesn't have real judgment.
We cling to that because it makes us feel safe. But remember what we just said about GPT 5.3 having taste.
Right.
Schumer's rule of thumb here is critical. If a model shows even a hint of a capability today, the next version will be genuinely good at it.
So if it shows a hint of empathy today,
then next year, it's a better listener than your therapist. People are already using these things for emotional support. That human connection might not be the defensive moat we all think it is.
okay, this is heavy. I don't want to leave people just staring at the wall in existential dread. Schumer does offer an action plan. He says, don't be a flip phone user.
This is maybe the most important takeaway. The biggest mistake people make is they hear a conversation like this, they get curious, they go to the free version of ChatGPT.
Which is running on technology from 2 years ago, basically.
Exactly. They play with it for 5 minutes, it gives them a generic answer, and they say, see, it's overhyped, it made a mistake. Schumer says that's like judging the future of mobile computing by playing Snake on a Nokia while everyone else has an iPhone 17.
So, step one, you actually have to pay the $20 a month.
You have to use the frontier models. Right now, that's GPT 5.3 or Opus 4.6. If you are not paying, you are not seeing reality. You are living in the past.
And step two, once you have access, is to stop treating it like Google.
Yes. Stop asking it, what's the capital of France? Stop asking for a limerick. Give it work, real work.
What does that look like?
Feed it a messy spreadsheet with your company's Q4 data and say, find the story here and build a predictive model for Q1. Upload a 50-page contract and say, find every liability clause that exposes me to risk.
He suggests a 1 hour a day challenge.
Which I love because it's practical. Commit to 1 hour a day for 6 months. Every single day, try to make the AI do something new in your workflow.
And what happens after 6 months of that?
You will understand the granular texture of what is coming better than 99% of the population. You'll know where it fails, where it hallucinates, and where it's already superhuman.
That feels like the only real career safety net right now.
Being the person who knows how to use the agent, because right now the bar for that is on the floor. Most people are asleep at the wheel. The window to be early is wide open, but it is closing.
Before we wrap, I want to zoom out one last time. Schumer ends his piece with this bigger picture thought experiment from Amodei, the country of geniuses.
This is the part that keeps me up at night. He says, imagine a new country appears on the map overnight. It has 50 million citizens,
Okay.
and every single one of them is smarter than a Nobel Prize winner. They think 100 times faster than humans. They never sleep. They can code, research, and organize perfectly.
And the question is, what happens to the rest of the world?
It's this dual reality. On one hand, it is the single greatest national security threat in history. If that power is used for cyber warfare, for designing biological weapons, for mass surveillance, it is game over for privacy and security as we know it.
That's the risk. But the other side of that coin,
The other side is you have 50 million super geniuses working on a cure for cancer, working on clean energy, working on Alzheimer's. You could compress 100 years of medical research into 10 years.
you could solve problems we thought were just a permanent part of the human condition.
It is the highest stakes imaginable. Utopia or catastrophe printed on two sides of the same coin. And the people building it, the insiders, they are simultaneously more excited and more frightened than anyone else on the planet.
Because they see the code. They
Yeah.
see the trajectory.
Yeah.
It really brings it all back to that opening thought. The honest version of this story isn't about a new gadget or a stock price. It's about a new species of intelligence entering the workforce.
We are so far past the point of this being an interesting dinner conversation about the future.
The future's already here.
It just hasn't knocked on your front door yet, but it is walking up the driveway.
That is where we're going to leave it for today. If you haven't, maybe upgrade to one of the paid models. Try that 1-hour challenge. We've linked to Mass Humor's original dispatch in the show notes. Thanks for diving deep with this.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you in the next one.